against Phil Landrum in the red trunks. And it's Von Erich very quickly bullying Landrum back into the ring ropes. A good clean break. Von Erich steps back. Good move by Von Erich. Takes Landrum down to the canvas. Into an inside armbar now. Catches that wrist and again has Landrum back to the canvas. And notice the way Von Erich stays totally aggressive, utilizing his legs and his arms completely at all times. A lot of wrestlers will concentrate only on the upper body, but Von Erich concentrates on the entire body and uses his entire body as an offensive weapon. Side headlock. Landrum trying to figure an escape into a quick hip lock takedown. Keeps the side headlock. Kevin Von Erich with that side headlock. Landrum obviously would like very much to get away from this situation. Finally does. Started to get some added leverage that time. Landrum now has his hands full the break, and it is Landrum back on his feet. Von Erich circles him. Landrum tried to go for a top wrist lock. Now has a bit of a ride going on, and Von Erich slips away from it very nicely. Now Von Erich has the ride going and a hammerlock on Landrum. Kevin is the oldest of three brothers. And, of course, the Von Erich family, tremendous athletes, each and every one of them. Into the ropes, the referee calls for the break. Again, it is Kevin Von Erich circling. Snapmare by Von Erich into a rear chin lock on Landrum. Von Erich, if you were scoring on points, would definitely be ahead thus far in this match. He has been the aggressor. Good reversal by Landrum. Has Von Erich in a bit of trouble here now as he has the hammerlock on him. Keeps that hammerlock. Von Erich very, very smoothly slips away from that reversal. They're into the ring ropes, and the referee calling for the break. Collar and elbow back to a side headlock. Moves from a side headlock. Reverses back to the hammerlock, a takedown. Ties up those legs, and Landrum, trying to escape from it, now finds himself trapped on the canvas. And Von Erich grabbing that foot, bringing it down across the other one. He's cutting off the circulation now in that right leg by using the left leg. And Landrum rather, makes it to the ring ropes. Von Erich, a good clean break. Takedown by Landrum, but they're into the ropes, and the referee calls for a break again. Collar and elbow. Landrum pulls him back in. Rips across the eyes that time. Landrum, despairing of his capabilities against Kevin Von Erich, now suddenly rips across the eyes. Von Erich with an elbow to the midsection. Snapmare takes it down. Von Erich using the back of the elbow very effectively across the chest of Phil Landrum. Now full arm whip into the far turnbuckle. Von Erich drives the knee into the midsection of Landrum. Hip toss and Von Erich passes down across him. Notice again the leg. And Von Erich coming off those ropes in a tremendous. I want to find out exactly just where this situation came from, because it's a series, it's a chain series from a lateral body scissors to a lateral drop to a lateral roll, which is most unusual, and very frankly, you're the first wrestler I've ever seen compete with that.
Well, Mr. Soler, you're making it sound a little bit complicated. In all truthness, there's no name for this hold. It's just something I did one time, and I can't think of a name for it. I guess you could call it the no-name hold. Unless you think of one.
I'll tell you what, it was a fine pinning combination, so whatever the name might be, perhaps we can think of the proper name for it, but I'll tell you this much, it worked.
Well, it is a very effective hold. Let me say something, Mr. Soler. I came here 3 weeks ago. I consider you a good friend of mine now.
Thank you.
We've known each other for 3 weeks. And it's about time I started filling my quest. I mean, I've had 6 matches. I'm undefeated 6 times. I'm not bragging, but I'm here to fill Von Erich tradition. And that tradition is a winning tradition, and I'm ready to get it started. I'm ready to start rolling. I want one of these belts because I feel like that's the way to get my name up on that ladder. So I'm ready to go.
Well, that's certainly understandable, and of course, right now you've got Steve-O, who's a national heavyweight champion. You've got the Georgia heavyweight championship that could be sought after, and of course the Georgia tag team championship if you're interested in going to a tag team route.
Well, you know, I've got some brothers. One brother, Kerry, who was he won the Olympics in the discus. I'm sure of that. He had the farthest qualifying throw. My brother David is one of the top athletes in Texas. And either one of them would make a fine tag team combination for me. And any way you look at it, I'm going to win. I'm going to take this thing, and I'm going to go all the way with it. So you just stick with me, and you'll see.
Fair enough. A very confident, but justifiably so, Kevin Von Erich. Thank you very much for...
And here are 2 outstanding athletes. Nelson, the shorter of the 2, probably giving away some reach to Von Erich. Von Erich in the yellow trunks, Nelson in the black trunks. Kevin Von Erich, 6 feet 2.5 inches tall. Hits the scales at around 230 pounds. Von Erich dropped down, thinking to possibly get a single leg pickup or an ankle sweep. Nelson was watching him carefully, and a good back out by Nelson that time as Von Erich went for an ankle sweep. All right, collar and elbow, but Nelson very quickly turned that into a top wrist lock, has Von Erich down to one knee momentarily. Von Erich caught in a position here, did not have the leverage, but they're into those ropes. The referee calls for the break, a good clean break. Kevin was born in the Yukon in Yellowknife. Of course, has made his home, these many years in Texas. Went to the Denton High School and then, of course, to North Texas State University. Has his degree in forestry with a minor in biology. Second-generation wrestler and an outstanding athlete. So you've got a tremendous... Nelson catches him with a head scissors. And Von Erich is facing some problems here. Good hip lock takedown, but Jim Nelson once again moves into that head scissors. This thing about Nelson, you've got to watch him. He's very clever, very adept at the ring. Snapmare by Kevin Von Erich. And Kevin Von Erich using that elbow very effectively. Now to a rear chin lock on Nelson. Nelson, shorter than Von Erich, is from Roanoke, Virginia originally. Went to Northside High School there. And a good series of moves by Kevin Von Erich that gets Nelson trapped into a hammerlock. Nelson, I might point out, is quite a motorcycle enthusiast. He's been wrestling professionally for the last 3.5 years and has moved extremely well in his chosen profession. Referee Nick Patrick checking. They're into the ropes. The referee calls for the break. Nelson back on his feet very quickly. Nelson drove a knee to the midsection, then overhooks to the front chancery on Kevin Von Erich. Keeps that front chancery, and so Kevin Von Erich, who is undefeated thus far here on Georgia Championship Wrestling, facing some very tough competition here, but now escapes from that, gets a full arm drag and twist, now uses the forearm across the deltoid muscles of Jim Nelson. If you look at Kevin Von Erich closely, you'll see Matt Burns on his elbows, marks on his legs. He has that one problem, as I pointed out. He lacerates very easily. And this, of course, can be damaging. Kevin Von Erich now tiring of the tactics of Nelson. The beautiful forearm that rocked Nelson into a snap mirror. Took Nelson back to the canvas once again. Von Erich crashing down across him. A count of 3. Kevin Von Erich putting the full brunt of some 230 pounds, catapulting down across the chest of Jim Nelson, scoring. Just a couple of moments remaining right now to talk to Kevin Von Erich. As I mentioned earlier, of course, here's a man who has won several titles as a professional wrestler, the most prestigious of which, I must say, on an individual basis, would have to be that Missouri State Championship.
Well, the Missouri State belt is a very prestigious belt. It's been held by some of the greatest champions of all, some guys like Jack Briscoe and both of the Funks, and some really great competitors, and so I was really happy to own that title for sure.
Hey, nobody wants to hear that, boy. Nobody wants to hear that. You might be something in Texas, boy, but you're not nothing here in Georgia where all the talent is. So why don't you just step off the TV, boy, and let some men do the talking, okay?
Well, gentlemen, I'll tell you what. Kevin, I apologize for this. Mr. Gordy, we have no time to talk right now. Stay tuned. The Atlanta Falcons